Halyna Hutchins was a Los Angeles-based union cinematographer who graduated from AFI in 2015 and has since established a track record of successful narrative features. Halyna was selected as one of America's cinematographers' Rising Stars of 2019, as well as cinematographer for the 21st Century DP Lab in 2018.
Originally from Ukraine, Halyna grew up on a Soviet military base in the Arctic Circle, surrounded by reindeer and nuclear submarines. She held a graduate degree in international journalism from Kiev National University in Ukraine, and previously worked as an investigative journalist with British documentary productions in Europe.
On Thursday, October 21st, 2021, Halyna Hutchins was killed on the set of her new film, Rust, while the lead actor was rehearsing a scene that involved the actor pointing a revolver in the direction of the camera lens. The film's director, Joel Souza, was also injured and has since recovered.
Halyna was only 42 years old.
And today is Saturday, October 30th, 2021. This is the Producer's Happy Hour. I'm Lawrence Lewis in Los Angeles.
And I'm Sister Christian from New York City, but currently I am in LA. And Halyna Hutchins, her family, her friends, and crew are all in our thoughts today. We were quiet last week for obvious reasons, but a lot has transpired since then.
Yes, and we want to hear from you, so please join the conversation at producershappyhourgroup.com or email us at producershappyhour@gmail.com. Send us your thoughts, your feelings, your anything you want to say about everything that's been happening in production in the world lately. And we'll talk more about this later in the show, but I want to get this email up front as well. standwithproduction@gmail.com. There's a lot of production folks, producers and production managers and production coordinators who are chatting right now about how to make our working conditions a little bit better. And if you want to get involved, email them at standwithproduction@gmail.com.
Yeah, I mean, or if you want to make your quality of life a little bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, our working conditions are one thing, but I think that it very much, this is a quality of life movement as much as it's a labor movement.
Yeah, exactly. Which we've been talking about for weeks on this show.
For fucking ever.
There is, we want to pay homage to Halyna and her family and give that the weight and time that it deserves. But at the same time, this is a labor story. This is a symptom of this bigger problem that we've all been talking about for a long time on the show and off of the show and before the show. This isn't just a random set accident.
No, this is about not wanting to, it's about slimming down departments, not having enough personnel to handle the workload. It's about hiring people who may not be seasoned professionals in key positions. Assumptions on my part are made because the movie cut money quarters.
Yep.
And hired people who asked for more. And I've also seen interviews from people who had interviewed for the armory position, turned it down because they could not have enough help.
Really?
Or not being paid their rate. So yes, I mean, it's not just my speculation. I'm absolutely, yes, that is true.
Yeah, the details just keep getting uglier and uglier and paints a terrible picture that I honestly, I can't even keep up just because we've all been on set with a gun, and we know how that process works. There's no way possible if anybody was following 1 ounce of that protocol would have this have happened. So
no live rounds
to start.
Yeah, I mean, like it just. I know it sounds so logical.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. So, Lawrence, how are you doing?
I'm okay.
Are you drinking something today?
I'm not. It's Saturday morning. I enjoyed some wine time with friends last night, so I'm nursing myself with a lovely cup of green tea, your favorite.
Tastes like dirt. So I'm having a shot of something called Vitality.
Ooh.
Which feels just like turmeric, because tonight I am attending a Halloween party.
Yes.
So I feel like if I start now, I'll be asleep for the party.
You won't make it. You won't make it till till the guests arrive.
I don't think I can make it till 7. We'll see. Without drinking, we'll see. This week has been extra, like hours. So yeah, it's just And I feel like I say that every week, but here we are.
But here we are because it's true. And that's a big topic about the show, not alone, notwithstanding the Halyna Hutchins story, but also the production story that's happening. So obviously we missed recording. I do want to tell this story. This is the second time we've recorded this episode because I came over.
Yes, to my place in LA, and we got real excited because it was our first time recording together since the shutdown.
Yeah,
like being in the same room and actually splitting a microphone and popping our peas on each other.
Yeah, exactly. But of course,
I mean,
due to some technical,
we had our drinks ready.
We had everything. It went really well. It was a really good live episode.
I mean, it was the best show we ever
Beals,
recorded.
Our editor, wouldn't have had to do a thing. Just put it out there because it was so good. But then, of course, due to some technical error, mostly on my part, it didn't record. It didn't record.
Finger thing.
So here we are on a Saturday morning. Re-recording this episode, so apologies if you missed us on Thursday. You know, we're doing our best, guys. We're doing our best, people. This is all. This is all we can do.
Yes.
How are you doing? I didn't even answer your question. It was a rough week, but how are you? I know you've been crazy busy. You've got personal stuff going on and everything.
Holy shit. Like it just like yesterday, I think I texted you and I feel like it's the 18th time in the last 2 months I've texted you. I don't know how much more I can take. And I realize that I can obviously take more. So because I have been, I'm okay. It just, I'm wondering out there how y'all feel about, I just don't see an end.
No.
I mean, this is not this feels like an endless cycle. This is not, an ebb and flow situation. And I know that we are boundaries. And I know we keep saying it, but I'm now setting them for other people. I got a text this morning at 7:30 about something. And I was like, I immediately was like, thank you very much for reaching out. And I understand that you would like this answer now. However, I would like to enjoy some time off. And I do not have, I know that answer was probably a lot longer than it would have been to actually answer the question, but I don't give a shit. And here's why. I don't want to reward that behavior with the answer anymore. So I'm setting boundaries for other people as well. These aren't just my own boundaries because it was somebody who I work with and who works under me. And I'm just like, you have to enjoy your time too, because we don't have any.
Yeah.
And so please stop thinking about this. And I'm not answering it. Sorry.
Yeah. It's Saturday.
Yeah. It's Saturday at 7:30 in the goddamn morning.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right. So I think it's becoming increasingly more important for us to set those boundaries and just make sure that we are protecting ourselves from being overworked and underpaid and underappreciated.
Yeah, because at some point, if you allow yourself to get that way, you're not contributing. You're not working. We've said this before. You're not working at your best. You're not doing as much as you would be able to if you weren't in this overworked environment or in a situation where you have no time to yourself.
That was what the last 2 days worth of meetings have been about, is quality of work, and quality of creative, and also moving out of being reactionary and into planning, because prep on jobs should be planned. That's our planning process. It is, but what feels like we have no time. All we're doing is reacting to requests.
Yeah.
On every job. That's all we're doing.
Yep.
And we're doing all the things like the moment we start, it's like calling 15 keys in a department, not just one, because nobody's available. It's like all of that prep work. But in addition to that, you're reacting to all the requests because there's no time.
Yes.
So that's what I know that segments into, into what our discussion is today. But it's also very true, like the reactionary nature of how jobs have been that are just becoming more and more like every job that I started to set that with clients in the last 2 days of like, you knew this particular show's last season was airing on this date. So you knew you wanted to promote it. So why are you calling us a week in advance to do it?
Yeah.
Like you fucking knew all of this stuff. And so we have to, I feel like that's something else because they can find somebody who will do it in a week. It means that they ask.
Yeah.
They ask because it's possible. And we've
possible.
made it possible because we're an efficient
yes.
group of people.
Yes.
Exactly. And so we have to get together and stop saying yes for our own safety and livelihood.
Exactly. Before we go further down this road,
yes,
the one more thing I want to say about Halyna, and this is just baby steps. I get it. But there is a petition out there to ban the use of real firearms on film production sets.
It's literally the least we can do.
It's literally the least we could do.
Literally the least.
So I'm going to put that link in the show notes. And just to give some context, this accident happened on set last Thursday. Prior to that last Thursday, a couple weeks prior to it, there was a production team in New York City that wrapped a job, turned in the job, and made a statement by including all of their production overtime hours on their time cards. For those of you who don't know, us production folks, we don't get paid overtime, even on set days.
Because if I may, Jane Nunez at AICP, okay, hold on. Because the AICP deemed us exempt because of one word in the labor law that says creative. I'm happy to include that post on this, but basically around 2008, I don't know if y'all are old enough to remember, in 2008, we started writing exempt on our time cards when we were coordinators and PMs. Yep. And that was because the AICP said that legally production coordinators and production managers, supervisors are exempt from getting overtime because of this particular labor law.
Yeah.
That labor law is subjective and can be fought, but for years, the AICP has fought against us receiving it. So please go on.
I shall.
A little history for y'all.
A little background. This is all important context because, we're talking to people nowadays that don't even know how PHBP got set up. So,
yeah.
So this history is important. And what happened on Rust, what IA's been fighting for, and what happened with this production team in New York City, it all correlates with each other. So this team turned in time cards with their OT hours, and this was not an offense to the production company. It was to create a stir and saying, we've worked at this company for years. We turn in thousands of jobs under budget, tens of thousands of dollars under budget. Big job. Our total OT for the entire production department came out to $11,000.
And in the scheme of things, that's a drop in the bucket.
In the scheme of things, that is a drop in the bucket.
Considering that the majority of these companies bid 34 to 38% P&W across the board.
Yeah.
And that's something that they save because this time of year, non-union P&W is around 20%. So there's 14. So that 14%, I would wager, would pay at least half of that overtime.
Yeah, exactly. So bravo to that team. And then the Sunday before this accident, this is all in the tail of IATSE coming to terms with the AICP or AMPTP and making a deal. Hollywood ending, break out the cigars, according to Matt Loeb. And then on Sunday, this same production team, dripping with sarcasm, the same production team walked off a film shoot, a commercial shoot, just to say...
On a Sunday morning, it sounds like.
Yeah,
right?
just to say, hey, we can't do this anymore. This is unsustainable. The goals are unachievable. The asks are incessant. The working hours are inhumane. So the team walked off the job, risking their further employment with that company and any other company.
I'm so proud of them.
It's really brave, and that word gets used.
It's very inspiring.
That word gets used too much. Inspiring is a great way of describing it because the only way we're going to make a change in the way we work, the way we're treated, the expectations is to cause a problem. So they caused a problem for that ad agency. They caused a problem for that production company, and people are talking about it.
As they should be. This is an ebb and flow situation, but I feel like we're drowning in the wave of labor right now. And it's been building since last summer when we when we thought that there would be some humanity brought back into working and some kindness, and maybe remember when there was talk about extending prep time so we wouldn't get sick.
Yeah. Exactly.
How quickly it changed in a year. I mean, it was literally, we were out of work for 3 or 4 months, starting back July and coming back now, or depending on who you were and in your life at that point when you started back to work. Now people have choices about jobs. It's not just
Yeah.
about taking anything that comes along, but everything that comes along is horrible.
Yeah. I know. I just had a
fantastic job. That's some dripping.
That's, yeah, dripping again. No, I just had an offer, and I was like, oh, and it's like we can't remember how bad it was last time every time, because I'm like, oh, that's a nice sizable job. Maybe I should take that and close out and I'm saying, yeah, exactly.
What are you doing?
I know. It's this ingrained problem in
trauma.
my head. And it's like, my friend took a job and he was like, yeah, I did the same thing. I took this nice big fatty job. And then 4 days in, I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? This is a nightmare. But also, that same friend said that they've been hearing EPs on calls be very delicate with production teams right now, thanking them and saying, we know this is a lot. We know how much work this is. So thank you so, and it's like, the EPs are talking. They know what's coming. And so everybody, what we're...
Well, I'd like to remind everybody that when the original strike happened in LA, and, there were people picketing MJZ, and when those inspiring PMs and producers and PAs and coordinators were doing that got us PHBP. All it got us was PHBP. And I would like to again remind people that PHBP only covers about 2,500 people, and that includes who's on staff. So just know that if you do commercials at maybe 180 different companies and you happen to do 100 days or $30,000, then you qualify. If you do anything like network promos, content, webisodes, music videos, anything commercials that aren't at AICP companies, if you work for in-house agency production studios, if you work for a mom and pop shop, if you work for post houses, if you do anything else besides commercials for those large companies, you do not get health care.
Exactly.
So the PHBP that's all we got from the last picketing.
That's all we got.
That's all we got.
And it
so
doesn't
all
touch
the other
everybody.
shit that we're talking about now,
in
the air, like 6 and 7 days, and like overtime, and all of that shit that we were trying to get back then too, we said okay to just healthcare for 10 to 20% of us.
And now, Christian, I don't know if you do, it's not 30 grand anymore. They tiered it, so 30 grand barely gets you the HMO. You have to, I think.
No, I don't know, because I lost it in 2014.
You have to get over
because of a lapse. In anyway, that's a story for a different day.
You have to get over, I think it's 75 grand a year to get the PPO plan that was originally given to us. Anyways, look, we've gone through this, and Christian, you had something really wise to say when we recorded this the first time, so I'm trying to get us there. But, we've attempted.
I'm very wise.
We've attempted.
My wisery is amazing.
There's been attempts for production people to unionize in the past that have failed. There's a momentum right now. Yes. There is a labor movement right now. Again, email standupforproduction@gmail.com if you want to know more. I don't know if unionizing is the right move. I don't know if making a guild's the right move, but at least everybody's talking about this shared trauma called production that we are now identifying as being unsustainable and unachievable. And there's some kind of momentum happening amongst the community to do something about it.
Yes. And by nature, our positions are isolating. We often do not have 2 producers on a job, 2 PMs on a job. It's one job has one position per category. Right? Yeah. So unless we have, big New York City famous production parties or the community is isolated in and of itself by the nature of what we do. So community has been hard to build to begin with, but that is where the foundation of this only grow and become a large movement is when we all connect and we realize that we're all having the same experiences.
Yeah.
We're all having to beg for scraps. We're having to ask the people who work for us to do more and more because the time is shorter and we're exhausted. I spoke to somebody yesterday, a good friend, who is not taking more than 1 or 2 day shoots as a producer. That's a theme, but unless I talk to 10 people and get that theme from them, we don't know that's what's going on. And so what part of this movement is happening in these town halls? I think there's one in about half an hour that we're going to attend. These are places for us to go and say that we're done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
You're
done, Lawrence.
Yeah.
Everybody I've spoken to are done, but if they're not talking to each other, how do we know that we're done? This is important.
The production team that walked out of the job and we were sharing their story with permission, by the way. They have asked to remain anonymous. Seeing the email from the team that was circulated to explain what they did and why they did.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Carried so much weight because I know you and I have talked about how hard it is. And I know I've talked about it with my other friend. And I know I've talked about it with my other friend. It amounts to maybe, 5 people that I'm like, wow, how has this job become what it is? How has this job become so hard? That's not a lot of people. So then I'm sitting here at my little house thinking, gosh, maybe I'm just aging out. Maybe I'm just no longer a good producer. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this anymore. Maybe it's time to figure out something else. And then all of a sudden to be on a town hall on Zoom, because there was one last week, if anybody was on it or missed it, to hear 200 other people talking and agreeing and nodding their heads about producer PTSD or having anxiety or not able to work the way that we used to work because it is
or feeling like you're going to puke and poop at the same time all day long.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I have told clients within the past week to say, great, this text has been sent from the bathroom because I'm simultaneously vomiting and puking. Are you sure that this is what you want?
Yeah.
And good clients, they understand the candor. But actually, honestly, that's how I've begun speaking to people because I don't know how else to get it through that what they're asking is ridiculous. And so I think ridiculous answers have started to enter my vocabulary, if you know what I mean.
And I mean, that's what has to happen.
Well, if you're only fighting for yourself, then you can only do for yourself.
Exactly.
But the powerful part about what's happening is that you can have a voice, even if it's not your voice, somebody can speak for you. You can be a part of this process by just knowing about it.
Exactly.
And supporting and getting information. So we really do encourage you to go to the email and just sign up.
standupforproduction@gmail.com. Been a challenging couple of weeks. Not gonna lie.
I know. And I do have to say that I've been part of 3 separate committees over the years trying to create a community for us.
Yeah.
This time feels different for me because it's not secret.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never understood why fair treatment of employees and fair working conditions should be secret. But I do understand that I'm quite different from a lot of people I was never and still not afraid of being blacklisted.
Right.
That's my own arrogance and my own pride, I'm sure, is some of it, but I'm not afraid of that. So I very strongly feel that I can be a voice for those who are afraid of that. And I understand that fear.
Totally.
And that is a valid thing too, that we need to talk about. If you're afraid of that, then you do not have to be public.
Right.
We will speak for you though. And I just think that this time, because it's not, and I think that this needs to be multi-generational. I think that it needs to be multicultural. I think that it should not be secret. I think it should be out in the open and that we should be explaining to each other what we want. And that should be trickling out to everyone because if it is in the open, it will happen. If it's 10 people behind a closed door, it will not.
Yeah. You said it all.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say to
that. except for right on, sis.
Right on, sis.
Exactly.
It really is inspiring to hear people talk, and it really makes you feel so much less alone. And to listen to these people talking, these production town halls, and to hear someone say, just like you said, I'm okay with being blacklisted because I can't continue working this way. So if nothing changes and I'm blacklisted, that's okay because I can't take another job this way. If I'm blacklisted and I'm helped to inspire some kind of change, then great. It's worth it because I can't continue in this fashion. And I think that's kind of a big difference now between the few times that in the past that we've attempted to do this, unionize or organize or ask for something better. Hopefully we should not be on an island, just negotiating our own, sanity for our own teams. And that's it. Yeah.
The humanity that we were begging for last summer never came. So unless we make that for ourselves, we're not going to get it.
In the name of Halyna Hutchins and all that have died from terrible working conditions in the past, hopefully we can make some changes that make our jobs safer and more accomplishable. I don't know what.
I mean, it's for all of you who have fallen asleep on your way home from a job.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, if we were only fighting for that alone, that would be enough.
Yeah.
And that's not it. That's not it.
Yeah.
And I would beg to wager 80% of us have fallen asleep on the way home or the way to a job.
Absolutely.
So,
standwithproduction@gmail.com. Reach out.
I'm excited. I'm nervous, but excited.
I know. Same here.
Producers Happy Hour was created with the help of Christopher Daniels, who is a branding and design specialist, and he created our logo and branding.
And Kyle Puccia is a music composer for commercials, film, and TV, and he created our show music.
This episode was edited by Eric Beals. Thanks for listening, and we might be back next week.
We'll see. Send us your voice recordings.
Surprise.
Send us your voice recordings or your emails to producershappyhour@gmail.com.
Lawrence, how do people get you if they want you?
2 ways. voiceoflawrence.com for my voice over work, or lawrencetLewis.com for producing. How about you, sister?
sisterchristianproduces.com. Yeah.
Hit us up.
That's it.
See ya.
See ya. Fucking nailed it.
Nailed it.